free slide, again, very much the same thing. A mass of material remaining in contact with the inclined surface, but in this case, it's earth materials. Not as dramatic, generally doesn't move as rapidly. Okay, flow activity. 3 different types of flow. And you know one of these already. Lahar, what is it? What is a lahar? What? Okay, volcanic. You have ash and water. Again, remember the city of Herculaneum by Pompeii was buried by lahar. So a lahar is a volcanic ash flow, and the water is provided by the erupting volcano. Then we have earth flows. Earth flows are again small scale, generally maybe a ½ acre maximum size. We see these in Wisconsin when the slopes have been compromised, and when we get heavy spring rain, snow, melt, part of a hillside may come cascading down at several feet per hour, and this thing just slides down. It retains its shape, just slides down as a very, very even, continuous mass. But the difference between a flow and a slide is the water content. Water content here is over 30%. And then finally, the more spectacular of these, mud flow. Mud flows are super saturated, about 50% moisture, and they move like a running body of water. This whole mass is tumbling down like a rapidly moving stream. It carries sediments with it of all sizes. It is found most frequently in semi-arid areas. The best example of mud flows we have are in Southern California. Southern California, we see a series of activities that literally facilitate this process. Pacific Ocean, the LA Basin, Hollywood Hills, and a very rich granite base. Okay, so we have old granite. Old granite, given time, turns into what type of material? Your rotten granite becomes clay. So if through chemical weathering, granite becomes clay. Remember we talked about the hydrolysis process, water plus minerals results in a formation of new materials. Okay, in this area, California has 3 seasons. A wet season, which is typically November into January. A dry season from about, extreme dry season, April through September. And then September through November, we have the 3rd season, which is which one? We have wet season, dry season, and the fire season. Fires in the LA Basin are late fall, early winter phenomenon. And the reason for this is we have this wind coming off the Colorado Plateau. Remember that seasonal wind we talked about months ago, named after a general?
Chinook?
Santa Ana winds. Oh. The Santa Ana winds are hot, dry winds. They come off of the Colorado Plateau to the east. They whip through this area, and the low vegetation that's on the hills is basically shrubs, brush of various types. You've got this massive layer of clay at the top. So the fire season comes along, removes this stuff, wipes out the vegetation. The rainy season comes in, super saturates that clay, and what is it doing? It's overloading the clay. And when you overload something, literally, you create or facilitate mass movement. Well, that's not bad enough. Developers have gone into these hills and carved out roadways. And so now, rather than looking like that, the LA hills look like such. And you have layers of clay running through here with no support. Supersaturate this and you have potential problems. Throw on houses here, and people have these castles in the sky, and you get a beautiful view of the Pacific and the LA basin. When this stuff moves, you've converted your multi-million-dollar house into a multi-million-dollar toboggan. One way down, that's it. Number of these homes, literally went cascading down. And again, it's that combination of no vegetation, heavy rain over short periods of time, and a lot of clay materials. So you end up with a mud flow of great magnitudes in that area. Okay, a fall, that's pretty obvious what a fall is. You have a rock in it, something like this. It shears off and it just simply tumbles down. The difference between a fall and a slide is a fall has no contact with the inclined slope. Now, when we talked about the condition in the Andes, we'd indicated you had this massive mountain, you had this layer of ice, and remember we stated the ice fell roughly 12,000 feet, a little bit more than 2 miles, so you had a fall component, and then this block of ice went cascading down the side of the mountain. This is a sliding component. The ice turns into a mass of debris, liquid debris, and so we end up with a flow component as it comes cascading down. So we end up with a composite activity of one event. And remember that event was started with a triggering method, the earthquake. So the ice shears, the ice falls, the ice slides, the ice flows. Quicksand. All of you have heard of quicksand. Quick clay is somewhat like quicksand in that you have clay particles that are supersaturated. Clay particles are held together by water. So below the surface, these are your clay particles, and I'm not going to do a lot of these. Remember, clay is extremely small. 1/256th of a millimeter or less. These clay particles are held together by microscopic quantities of water. Frequently, it is salt water, but not always. Quick clay takes on the appearance of solid material. They build roads on it, they build houses in it, they put basements in it, they put foundations on it. It has all the characteristics of a solid mass. The only difference between this and most other things, it has a high water content. It's constantly moist. But you literally can do anything you like with that material as long as we don't have any of these. Vibrations within the earth will liquefy this material. One of the things associated with earthquake activity is we liquefy soils. And what happens